No,
Welcome
that's not
back to my channel. Hi, how are ya?
Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Burrow.
I'm Emily Bloom.
And I'm Macy Lynn Money.
I'm Leslie Bloom.
This is Leslie. She's my girl. My sister.
Yeah, I was about to say daughter. It's not your daughter.
Bro, these are so good. Like, I used to hate these things. These kind of slap, though.
Okay.
So today's Macy's birthday. The day we're filming it.
I
Not the
turned
day we're posting
18.
it.
Yeah, but I turned 18 today.
She's getting old. And so, since
Aiden called me an old hag this morning.
Who?
Aiden?
Anyway, so since it's her birthday, again, the day we're filming it, not the day we're posting it, we let her choose who we get to talk about. Normally we decide together who we're going to do, and today she just chose all of it. And it's a long one. It's a doozy.
I love this guy. I don't love him, but...
Not as much as Jeff.
But, like, I love how the thing that got him caught was his lack of basic math.
The thing that got him caught was a tattoo, baby.
He wouldn't have gotten caught if he had just killed all the girls.
Yeah.
He forgot to kill the 9th one.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Like I said, you don't have to stay if you don't want to. Oh, hi. How are ya?
Okay. The general information of this man. His name is Richard Speck. Spree killer. He was responsible for the deaths of 8 women nursing students in Chicago on July 14th of 1966. His spree was called the Chicago Nurse Murders or Nightingale Murders.
So they made an entire movie about it.
But
There's a whole movie called Richard Speck and the Chicago Nurse Murders.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch it because I didn't want to, but I did watch like a bunch of documentaries and that took forever.
But so it was called the Nightingale Murders after the nurse Florence Nightingale. And it lasted just one night. He was also responsible for several unrelated rapes and assaults that we will be like skimming over a little bit. His arrest history.
We'll get to that later, but it's like,
and it's not because it's not because it's like not important, but like his life, all of the crimes that he
had
committed,
over 100 arrests on his record.
Yeah,
before
he's
he
like
died.
he is
Wild.
Yeah.
And like we said earlier, this is a really, really long case. We just don't have the time. So in his early life, Richard Benjamin Speck was born on December 6, 1941, to his father Benjamin F. Speck and his mother Mary Speck. He was born in Kirkwood, Illinois, and was the 7th of 8 children to be born. Speck was very close with his father and would often go on fishing trips with him and camping trips, and they would do family things. But in 1947, he died of a heart attack. The dad. You gonna bring those Takis over, bro? Okay, we'll go. I got food in my mouth. Shortly after his father died, his mother married a woman named Carl August Lindbergh, who, unlike Speck's father, who was just a good guy.
You mean man? You said his mother married a woman.
Oh, a man named Carl August Lindbergh.
I was like, wait, when did she turn gay?
Let her be, okay?
I mean, it's cool if she is, but I was like, I don't remember that.
She's not.
I mean, she could be.
She's dead.
I know.
Anyway, so, married a man, Carl August Lindbergh, who, unlike Speck's father, he was just a good dude, fam. Like, he was a great guy. Yeah,
this guy was not.
This guy was not. This guy was an alcoholic who frequently beat and abused Speck and his siblings. And just a couple of months after the couple married, they packed up all the children and moved from Kirkwood, Illinois to Dallas, Texas. But, like, Lindbergh particularly had, like, this, like, hatred of Speck. Can you stop crunching so loudly? He, like, particularly hated Speck, though. And so whenever he became drunk, he would, like, verbally and like physically abuse him more than the other
Okay,
kids.
you said he specifically hated Speck. They're all Specks.
Yeah, but obviously, when I'm talking about Speck, it's the same Speck I've been talking about since.
It's Richard.
So, eventually, Lindbergh got really, really drunk and told Richard that he was worthless and a waste of human. And then that he needed to get out of the house, and so he kicked him out. And by age 15, Richard Speck was living on the streets, had dropped out of school, and had turned to drugs, alcohol, and gangs in order to cope with his life. And
Okay, here's the thing about the whole Nancy Malone thing. So, people don't think that she's an awful person.
oh no!
She was trying to figure out where to put people on stage. And she had too many people over here, so she said, "You're a waste of human."
She misspoke and said, "You're a waste of human." I love that lady.
Why don't you ever tell me theater stories?
I tell you theater stories all the time, Leslie.
You didn't tell me that.
I told you that like 4 times, Leslie.
I don't remember it.
Well, you're a waste of human. Anyway,
Okay.
so during this time, he also learned about sex, as one does when they're 15, and before they're 15. So he started like hanging out with prostitutes and strippers and just all around easy girls. Excuse me. But he also began to develop his hatred, which was later diagnosed as like a complex that we'll get into later when we talk about the psychiatrist during his trials. But yeah, so yeah, he started hating ladies, as most people who kill a bunch of ladies do.
Mm-hmm.
What if I kill a bunch of ladies and I don't hate ladies?
Familial?
So we're talking about relationships now, because relationships are very important in the life of a killer.
I can't read because I don't have my glasses.
Well, it's because you destroyed them.
Okay, somebody crushed them.
Familial.
Okay. Here, let's zoom this in. Okay. So, he was extremely close to his father, but held a resentment towards his mother for being so strict due to her intense religious beliefs. When his mother remarried, his resentment grew even more because he thought that she was, like, unfaithful. Even though his father had already passed, it was like a feeling of, you know, like, that was my dad, and you just, like, moved on. His relationship with his stepfather was obviously, like, incredibly abusive, as we said. Oh my god.
I want to say that sentence again.
Like, as we said, his relationship with his stepfather was awful, abusive. He developed a strong hatred towards women, who he deemed to be unfaithful women or too easy. He thought that they were not serving their purpose, but he would still frequently hire prostitutes, even though he had an odd hatred towards them. His relationship with his mother began to improve when he became involved in gangs and crime, as she would always bail him out without question. He began to hold all women to this standard of doing whatever he wanted them to do without asking any questions. So, with his romantic relationships, he married a 16-year-old girl named Shirley Malone in 1961 when he impregnated her after just 3 weeks of dating. He convinced himself that Shirley, though young, in love, and pregnant, was cheating on him, and he placed her in the category of an unfaithful woman, even though she was completely innocent of this accusation. A condition referred to...
Wait. What's Miss Malone's mother's name?
I don't think it's Shirley.
I'm gonna text her.
Miss Malone?
Yeah. We got 8 minutes left. Keep talking. This is very important.
So this is a condition referred to by psychiatrists as Madonna whore syndrome. Speck viewed women as... I can't read.
Saintly.
Why can I not read? Okay. Speck viewed women as saintly until he felt betrayed by them for some reason, after which hostility developed. He then became incredibly abusive towards her, both mentally and physically. He would beat her, degrade her, and would even make her watch as he would bring prostitutes to their apartment just as a way to punish her for this, all while she was late into her pregnancy with their daughter. In January 1966, Shirley divorced Speck because of his escalation in abuse. Speck continued to mildly harass her, but it's not related to the remainder of the story.
Again, not because it's not important, because we don't have time.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, this is so important. I know it's my turn. But I have to finish texting Miss Malone. What is your mom's name? Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, did you explain to her that it's about the case?
No, I just said it has to do with our YouTube channel.
Okay.
I said this is so important, it has to do with our YouTube channel. What's your mom's name?
She's gonna be like, are you gonna start talking about my mom?
My mom!
Go.
Okay. By the age of 20, Mr. Speck was a very much established petty criminal because he had done things very established. Petty criminal. And so he would do things like, little thefts, writing bad checks. Before he left Dallas, he was arrested 41 separate times for petty crimes. And when he was 24, in March of 1966, Speck left Dallas because he robbed a store and the police were going to arrest him for the 42nd time. So he said, okay, I might want to skip town. So he ended up in Monmouth, Illinois. Wow. Monmouth, Illinois, where he had lived as a kid and where he still had some family living. But he only stayed there a short time before he decided to leave for Chicago to stay with his sister because he was the main suspect in the murder of a local woman. I don't know how that case ended up. I didn't research into that. I should have. And once we get that blog up and running, then we'll have notes on that. I'll make sure. Okay, so Speck ended up in Chicago in April of 1966, where he, like I said, lived with his sister. And his brother-in-law thought that he should join the Merchant Marines as an apprentice seaman so that he could find some work and get associated with the community. So he spent a short time working on the ships in the Great Lake, but was kicked out after having a fight with the ship's officer only a couple months later.
Can I talk about this part?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. So now we're on to July 14th of 1966. So he broke into the South Chicago townhouse. And so what happened was whenever he broke in, there were 3 nurses already in the room. And then he took them hostage up into a room that had 3 more nurses. And later that night, 3 more nurses came home. So a total of 9 that he took hostage. And those were Gloria Davy, Patricia Matusik? How do you say that?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Patricia
Matusik, I guess.
Matusik? Okay. Nina Schmel, Pamela Wokening, Susan Ferris, Marianne Jordan, Merlita
Gargulo.
Gargulo, okay. Valentina Passion. Okay.
And Corazon Amaral.
Let me finish speaking. Okay, so Corazon was the only one who survived. So pretty much he binded the women's hand and feet with he ripped the bed sheets, and he tied up their feet and their arms. The hands went behind their back and the feet were like facing backwards. So he would have them lay on their stomach. And so then he took each girl to separate rooms so that he could have personal time with all of them.
It's kind of disgusting.
And he stabbed and strangled them. And like each girl before could just hear muffled screaming from the rooms. And so Corazon was able to get herself under the bed and hide. And she did not come out until around 5 a.m. I think. And then she crawled out a window and called for help. And I mean, if he had just remembered that there were 9 girls instead of 8, he would have been able to try to find her and kill her. But instead, he was an idiot that did not know basic math.
Wait a minute, I don't know basic math.
I mean, you can at least, if you're a killer, and you're
Listen,
going to...
Once you get going, it's hard to, like, remember things, so...
Yeah, and that's how you get caught.
Yeah.
And so he was arrested due to a tattoo on his arm that said, "Born to Raise Hell." And it was like a few miles from the crime scene. Speck had made a friend named Claude Lunsford, and the two drank together, and Lunsford allowed Speck to room with him. 3 days later, Lunsford recognized a picture of Speck in a newspaper article and reported him to the police, but the police never responded.
They said, "No, it's not. That's not him." They were like, "Bring, bring."
When
We're
he
doing
found-
a sketch, Macy. Hi, my name is Claude. I would like to report that my roommate is actually a mass murderer. So, yeah, he got the tattoo and he looks exactly like this photo.
Nah.
Okay.
When he found out, Speck slit his wrist and the inner part of his elbow in an attempt to kill himself, and he was found and taken to the hospital under the name of B. Bryan.
He's a B-boy.
He was not a he was not a successful suicide. The doctor who was taking care of him thought that he looked familiar and soon reported him to the police. This time, the police responded and verified that it was indeed Speck by matching the tattoo on his arm to police records.
So you'll
was
listen
then
to a doctor?
arrested.
Don't interrupt our video, Leslie. You can't just yell things out if you're not on camera.
He was then arrested.
While awaiting trial, Speck participated in twice-weekly sessions with the part-time Cook County Jail psychiatrist, Dr. Marvin Ziporin. This continued after Speck's transfer from the Cermak Memorial Hospital, which is a hospital, yes?
Bi-weekly means every other week and 2 times a week.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like that.
Well, it's a good thing I wrote twice-weekly instead of bi-weekly.
Keep going.
This continued after Speck's transfer from the Cermak Memorial Hospital, not high school, which is a hospital that's contained within the Chicago House of Corrections, on July 29th, 1966, until February 13th, 1967, the day before Speck was transferred to Peoria to stand trial. So he kept being like, okay, why are you like this? Who hurt you? The answer is his stepdad. Anyway, so Speck's jury trial began on April 3rd, 1967 in Peoria, Illinois, 3 hours southwest of Chicago, with a gag order on the press, meaning that the press could not come. When Amara was asked if she could identify the killer of her fellow students, she rose from her seat, went to the witness box, and walked directly in front of Speck and pointed to him, nearly touching him, and said, "This is the man." She said, "This is the boy. This is the boy."
I almost licked your finger.
I
know. On accident. Disgusting. Okay, go to Lieutenant.
Lieutenant Emil Geese?
Geese?
I'm gonna say Geese. Alright. Emil Geese testified regarding to the fingerprints that were matched at the crime scene. He provided scientific evidence that the prosecutor needed for the conviction, and along with the girl's testimony, the evidence was far more than enough to have no reasonable doubt with the jury. He was convicted, and after only 49 minutes of deliberation, he was found guilty, and the jury recommended the death penalty. So, a few months later, the judge was like, yeah, he should die. So he sent him to the electric chair. But then, it takes time for the actual execution to happen. So during that time was when Supreme Court decided that the death sentence was unconstitutional. So they just commuted his sentence to life without parole. Which,
Yeah, Illinois didn't have the death sentence anymore.
Yeah. Which, I understand that.
Alabama does.
I understand that, because, if you're killing people, are you really any better than the killer? But at the same time, there are some people that...
See, the idea is that if you kill them, then there's not a chance of them breaking out of jail or even killing anyone
Yeah, that's
else
the thing.
in jail.
I understand that. And, like, there are some people who they deserve to die. And I don't like to play God and say that. But, like, there are some people who really just don't need to be alive. Because just their presence on this earth makes it a worse place. Like Hitler. I don't know if he's dead yet. Is he dead yet? I didn't check.
Oh, I thought you meant Jungkook, and I was like, what?
Speck. Still. Yeah, no, Jungkook actually died last week.
Dang it, they're always dying.
I know, and it makes me so sad.
He died December 5th in 1991. I'm pretty sure he died
of a heart attack.
Yeah, okay.
He died of a
Same
heart
way-
attack
same
like
way
his
died.
dad. It comes full circle, bro. We're not talking about this or
No,
this. We're talking about
Or this. SpongeBob.
Okay, time for the outro. Outro, my boy.
Okay, so this is the borough.
Hi. I live here now. In Macy's house. On her couch. This is where I live. On this couch.
Thank you so much for watching our video. Like, comment, subscribe. None of y'all comment.
Or you could turn on notifications.
Yeah, that too.
Also, the more likes someone gets, the more that YouTube algorithm recommends their video to other people.
Yeah.
So even if you hate this video,
At Connor, who said he won't like our videos because he doesn't want us to find his YouTube channel.
If this is posted on time, have a wonderful Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever this gets posted.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time in
The Borough.
the Borough.
Why are you dying?
Jason Derulo.
So yeah, it's my birthday. I'm 18. There's nothing special about it.
Oh, except your 5 shirt. Gang gang.
But I bought this for myself. No,
For
no.
Christmas. I got some of the spice on my cut on my lip.
That's dope.
Sorry,
Hi, Leslie.
Hi.
Look at that cutie. Anyway,
He killed them all at once.
he went. Get.
That's not how he did it. Do I have stuff
Just beauty.
on my face? You got a stain on my cup.
It's a good thing. Dishwasher lid off.
That's so cold.
You don't have to sit down.
So you'll listen to a doctor?
Be gone!